Hold on for a second. What's up, YouTube family? I would like you guys to make sure you like and subscribe to our video. It would help us get into the algorithms so we could be seen and bring more engaging content to you guys. So, like I said, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you. Edition of the Pick and Dimes podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Sean Tyson, here with Zoo and P. Bush. How are you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Just kind of an underwhelming wild card weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, got some nice wins for some good teams. Shout out Los Angeles, man. They needed a win. Maybe the NFL helped them a little bit with that little shovel pass to Puka. Come on, that's at least intentional grounding. Zoo, that was bullshit. But other than that, man, some of these games were just Broncos beautiful start, absolutely collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
The Chargers, Justin Herbert had more picks in this game than he did the entire season. And we got to say this, they were not all of his fault. But
Will Dissly.
Abysmal performance from the Chargers, especially on the defensive side of the ball, letting a team that has kind of struggled, at least in the passing front all year, just kind of dropped 25 on him or whatever, 32 with the pick six, man. But brutal wild card.
Yeah, this weekend, a lot of blowouts. Not going to lie. In the Packers-Eagles game, I fell asleep during the game. That Packers offense was an atrocity. Defensive-wise, they were actually
very good,
really elite. Like, they played their butts off against the Eagles offense, but offensively, like, some of the game, like, the Packers offense was abysmal. We all know about the Steelers offense. Like, that's like Steelers have been bad on offense since Big Ben retired. So they still haven't figured out at the quarterback position. They're still a pretty mediocre offense. And the Chargers, man, that was a brutal team to watch on offense.
I know.
That was absolutely brutal. From, like, as you mentioned, a lot of drop passes, turnovers, just poor play from the receivers. Like, Ladd McConkey, though. We got to shout out Ladd McConkey.
He's a beast.
197 yards. 9 receptions, 1 touchdown, and the one he got, that was straight up yak, man. Like,
it was all him.
Dude, like, this guy has that after the catch ability that I'm like, I knew Ladd was going to be the number 1 target, but man, he is. Like, for a playoff debut, shout out to Ladd McConkey. He's the only guy that showed up and bowled out because everybody else on that roster, especially offensively, didn't really show up and got absolutely demolished by a Texans team that came in the playoff struggling. Like, they didn't really have much to play for. Maybe they were just chilling before the playoffs because that division was wrapped up pretty quickly. So maybe that's why the Texans were just chilling in the regular season at the end of the year. But that was a bunch of massacres. Like, we had one really, really good game, but just a lot of absolute massacres this weekend.
They were making parallels. If you guys are, if whoever's watching is fans of college football, they were kind of making parallels with the expanded playoffs. There were a lot of blowouts in the first round. And I think a lot of people were like, well, people were fussing about the college football playoff and why we extend if, like, the first round is going to be blowouts. It's just like, it's still football. So, like, this year, I think in the NFL, it was a little underwhelming that the wild card games were not as interesting, but the same thing I was saying about with college football is, like, normally with the NFL, we're going to get good games in the playoffs. It's just this year was a little bit just lopsided. The same thing with college football playoffs. I try to teach people patience because it's like, yes, the first year of anything is always going to be bumpy, but if you allow the product to keep growing, and like you said, especially in college football, more talent's going to be spread out. There's going to be more even games and it's going to become NFL light with how the games may be a little bit closer. So, like I said, I agree with you guys. Starting off, people, what was your thoughts, or just pick a game that you think was the closest, and some observations you took from it.
I just got two games I want to kind of touch on real quick, and they very much tie together, very similar situations for these two teams at their quarterback position, man. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers on one end, to Zoo's point earlier, abysmal. They put up 14 points. Thank you for the plus 14.5 cover, Pittsburgh, but it was not that close of a game. Derrick Henry just demolished. And on the other side, you got the Vikings, man, who went 14-3 and had pretty much a Kirk Cousins against Daniel Jones year, man. I mean, they were one of the best teams in the NFC. They were demoralized, Zoo. It kind of reminds me a little bit. They didn't lose in the same fashion, but this team wasn't able to bounce back like the Bears after the Commanders game, man. Sometimes a moral defeat, if your team isn't gritty enough or maybe you just don't believe in some of the personnel, Sam Darnold, or you see how he played in that game against the Lions. Maybe you lose faith in how they can play going into the next week. So both of these teams, one, Sam Darnold played himself out 100 plus million.
Yep.
He might still get a good contract. We can't.
He will.
I don't know.
He's been getting.
I don't know.
Okay.
Depends on the team, but
well, hold on. Let me finish. His offensive line, I know a lot of the sacks were on him, but his offensive line fell through. He lost his right tackle.
Yeah.
And the Rams pass rush has been an absolute monster the last couple weeks. And we talked about that last week. Whoever won the defensive line battle was going to win that game, and it was just completely lopsided. He's still going to get a decent contract based on the market value of quarterbacks in the NFL. He's probably still going to get paid by a bad team. It's very possible. 100%. He went 14-3 and he threw 30-something.
Who do you think?
If I'm the New York Giants, am I giving him money? No.
Well, you got the
If
Titans.
I'm the Raiders, am I giving him money? No.
That's who I was thinking about.
Really? It's probably going to be the Raiders. They paid worse. They paid Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, come on, man. My point
and where are they drafted? I don't think they're
like Gardner Minshew and Sam Darnold.
Okay, but you know Sam Darnold's better than those two.
Yes.
Do I?
He is. You can't listen.
Come on, you got recency bias.
Dude, come on, man. Like he failed the exam, but he got a B plus for the year. Like he was a good student the entire year. He just failed the exam.
You know what I told you, man. He's a product of the great system, man.
Well, that system failed him then. I don't know what you want me to say, but the only two games that he's gotten blown out in.
Systems get tapped out in the playoffs because you're playing against legitimate teams.
The Lions figured him out. The Lions finally said, we're going to pressure him. No one pressured him all year. And they took the one advantage that disadvantage that the Vikings had, and that was their offensive line. And teams finally figured it out. It took them 17 weeks to get there. And then the Rams were like, oh, well, that worked last week. We're going to do the same damn thing. And it just worked perfectly, and you can't do anything about it. I'm not saying he had a perfect game. Obviously, he made mistakes. The fumble was horrible, the interception.
He missed some throws, too.
He missed some throws, yes. He was also rattled. Like, I could tell.
He got popped a couple times.
Was the rattling. I mean, he missed some screen passes. I know it was garbage time at that point with the one I'm thinking of to Aaron Jones. But, he's going to get a contract. He's going to get paid. Just not nearly what he would have gotten if he had won
like
that
a
game.
Baker Mayfield.
He might get he'll get like a
3-year, 90?
A 2-year, $30 to $40 million deal. A prove it deal.
Or a 3-year deal.
Or a 3-year
I would be shocked at a 3-year deal.
Pay him five years, $100 million. They're not going to do what Jimmy Garoppolo got. They're not going to pay him that. But on the other end, that's the point I want to bring up, right? Is they have JJ McCarthy, right?
Yep.
So they're not going to sign him. I think we know that at this point. Maybe they do and just say, hey, we'll franchise tag you. I know we said last week it's an expensive franchise tag.
I don't want to do that, yeah.
40.
Or you say, hey, test your market. You might not get anything. Or you can come back with us and get $12 million a year for 2 years.
I'll give him 10 to 15.
Okay, $12 million, 2 for 24. Let's just say that. And you have to fight with McCarthy. Yeah. I'd say that's a fair option.
That's a fair deal.
That's a fair deal.
When you're getting up to $30 million a year, that's an amount.
I agree. That's an
amount for a quality of player in Sam Darnold. Coach.
I just know how I think people is factoring in how we all agree.
Yes, we all agree.
2-year, $24 million is. But we know how quarterbacks are. They just overpay quarterbacks all the time.
Kirk Cousins, man.
An Achilles injury. I don't know what Larry was smoking doing that.
Well, my point is there are owners that are smoking crazier crack than that. So I'll just say that. But, my point is them and the Steelers, they both have a huge decision in the offseason. The Steelers, in my opinion, are actually the worst of the two situations just because we know what the Vikings have on a weapons front. Yeah. Unbelievable with Justin Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson. We'll see what they do with Aaron Jones. The Steelers are a bit more lost. George Pickens' interview did not give any comfort to Steelers fans regarding the offensive future. And let's be honest, Russell Wilson collapsed at the end of the year. Am I saying Justin Fields keeping him all year would have been the better option? No, I still think it would have been the same outcome. But maybe you go with the younger guy. Maybe they keep Fields and give him once again a very cheap prove-it contract and either draft someone or trade or sign a veteran in free agency. I don't know what they'll do. But I'm very interested to see both of these teams kind of come out of this wild card loss and see how they handle their quarterback room because these are two of the bigger offseason storylines for teams that were in the playoffs and maybe didn't perform well enough. But they do have pieces that they could use to get back there in future years, and we know Mike Tomlin will be there. So curious to see those.
Definitely. For me, like I know you mentioned this Rams Vikings. I want to dive a little more in this because this is the game of the week where I was the least surprised in with the outcome.
Yep.
Quarterback advantage, rest advantage, and coaching advantage because Sean McVay obviously with more experience relative to Kevin McConnell. So at those three fronts, I remember this team was fighting for his life against the Detroit Lions, and they pretty much played a playoff game before this game. And they got their butts whooped, and they got rattled in a must-win game. And then Darnold obviously had his worst game of the year pretty much last week, and then he followed up with this second worst game of the year. So you end out the season with 2 duds. Oh, I'm telling you that ownership going to remember. Head coach, like I don't know if you saw Kevin McConnell in his interview. He looked disgusted by the result. Like it was just a lot of like, oh man, like this is just. What we should have expected. Obviously, he had a terrific season, as you mentioned. Like you could have make an argument. He had like a top 6 QB season this year based on his regular season numbers. But as you mentioned, like no one should be surprised by this, man. Sam Darnold is just a nice, really, really good backup quarterback, and the Ricins could be a nice little starter on a cute team. And the cute story ended real quickly because the LA Rams right now, they look legit.
Dark horse.
They look legit. Because one thing I'm really, really impressed about, I don't know if it's the Vikings O-line's the worst O-line ever or the LA Rams defense is actually pretty damn good. Because they got to the quarterback a lot. And the way the Rams finished the year, that defense has been on a mission at the end of the year as far as allowing the least amount of points. Because pretty much, like I'm not counting the game against Seattle where they rested everyone, right?
Yeah.
So the games before that, 9 points allowed, 6 points allowed, and then the game before that obviously was the massive shootout with the Buffalo Bills where they still won against that team. So that's coming in at the end. So the defense is doing really, really well. They beat a Buffalo Bills team. I think we all agree with this is an elite football team with 1 or 2 MVP candidate. I know you guys have different preferences. You guys like Lamar for MVP. I'm a Josh guy for MVP. But they beat an elite Bills team, and that defense showed up I just like the single digits that they allow. That is, especially in the modern NFL right now, allowing single digit points against teams, that is extremely impressive. And even without Aaron Donald, the defense looks pretty damn good.
You don't have really any major star name. I mean, Jared Verse.
I don't have any big names.
Verse is about to be a star.
Yes.
He's a Pro Bowler as a rookie, which is kind of insane.
Yes. But like household names other than him?
Yeah. Not
Nothing
much.
really coming out.
Not much. And because, like, if you look at this offense, they didn't really have to do much this game. Like, the defense obviously got the –
Byron had a nice game.
Yeah, like, got the touchdown. Kyron Williams at the run game. Pretty much game was over in, like, the first half. Like, the game was absolutely over in the first half. And Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay, their resume in the playoffs, they just win. They just win. Like, even the last game, I feel like the last time they lost a playoff game, it was a one-possession game. So you're talking about a QB and coach who's on the same level, and they're in that time frame of getting it done. And right now, like I don't know what happened to Cooper Kupp. He kind of disappeared. Like he fell off at the end of the year. But Puka Nacua, he's that guy right now, man. That yak ability. He has proven that he ain't just no regular second year player. This guy had no sophomore slump, even coming back from injury. This guy's a phenomenal talent. So pretty much defensively, I'm impressed. Offensively, obviously with the QB coach and the lead receiver weapon with Kyron Williams being 1,000-yard rusher. This is a team that the Eagles, you're going to have yourself a handful. Because I was not too impressed with the Eagles.
I don't think
like
anybody was.
I'm impressed with the defense. But the offense, I don't know about you guys, but that doesn't look like a scary offense with the aerial stuff. Like you got a receiver on the bench reading a book. Like, I don't know what is going on with that situation.
He's trolling or something.
I don't know he's trolling, but if I'm a fan, I don't like that.
Zoo, he didn't have to do. He caught one ball, and
I know. I don't know. Like, the thing is, divas, man. I don't like this drama, man. I like dramas in my TV. No. I like my dramas in TV shows. I don't like it on my football team.
Well, that means you're not going to have a good football team because you're going to have drama on the football team. You're going to have. Like, that's just how it goes, man.
No. Yeah. All I got to say, there's no drama going on with the Detroit Lions. There's no drama going on with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Taylor Swift.
There's no drama going on with the Buffalo Bills.
Taylor Swift is just
that's off the field. I'm talking about on the field where it matters.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, this Eagles thing. This was my preseason NFC Super Bowl pick. I'm a little antsy about it. I'm not too confident in right now. The Rams they have a legitimate shot to beat this. So because the Eagles team, the Eagles offense specifically, not too impressed. So that's me talking about the Rams, but the game that shocked me, that Texas Chargers game, man. I don't know what I was watching. I felt so bamboozled watching that game because I was super. So my two favorites were the Vikings losing to the Rams and then the Chargers getting done over the Texans. But watching that game, I was like, Justin Herbert, man. I know a couple of those picks weren't his fault. But 4 interceptions, man. Okay, we're getting -1 or 2 of them. That's still 2 interceptions on you.
Yep.
He was atrocious.
Played a bad game.
Didn't throw the ball well either. High completion percentage.
How do you finish the year with 3 interceptions and throw 4 interceptions in your playoff game? Just think about that.
Yeah.
He's a low turnover guy, and in the biggest game of his career, he lays an egg.
Well, he laid an egg, and the only thing I got to say,
QBR 13.
No one, and I'm not backing him out. He had a bad game, obviously. Worse game than Darnold did, right? He had He played worse than Sam Darnold. But man, imagine throwing 5 balls to Quentin Johnson. He drops all of them. Will Disley causes 2 interceptions. Man, you can only trust one person, and J.K. Dobbins did nothing.
Yeah, the run game did absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of J.K. though. I've always thought he had a peak before his injury. I don't think J.K.'s that good.
No, he's good.
He's not explosive runner.
No one's had good games against the Texans in running this year. That's why I faded J.K. Dobbins.
Their defense is top 10.
Their defense is top 5 in rushing.
And it got to the rushing. He got that dude. What's his name? Will Anderson?
Will Anderson's a
monster. He's a monster. I don't know many defensive players, but watching the TV, I got to know Will Anderson.
Yeah.
He was there celebrating every time he got to the quarterback because that was an aggressive pass rush.
He couldn't trust anybody but Ladd, and that reflected. I mean, it was of his 220 yards, 197 of them were to Ladd McConkey. Yeah. If you do that, I mean, you've only got one guy. You're not going to win any football game. I'm sorry. Even if you throw one pick or 4, you're not going to win a playoff game like that. So, and shout out, we got to shout this out. D'Amico Ryans, hell of a game coach, man. Because he's a guru, defensive guru. He outcoached one of the toughest football guys in John Harbaugh. Yeah, I don't know. It was impressive.
And the thing with the Texans offense, I wasn't really too impressed with them either. No. Not very impressed. The only guy I was like, Nico Collins, this dude's unbelievable. I was a little hesitated this year, especially fantasy. I was like, one nice year. We'll see if he can do it. Oh, he's legit. This guy is physically everything you want in a receiver one. Yep. 6'4", fast, strong, has yards after the catch ability. He had 8 targets, 7 catches, 122 yards and a tutty. And did it against a really good defense in the Chargers.
That's a perfect game.
CJ Stroud, he has his number one option. Obviously, he's lacking a lot of receivers for him to have an explosive offense, but Nico Collins got them the lead, and Joe Mixon finished it off. So the Texas team, I'm not too worried about them in the next round because I don't know what that Chargers offense was. So I'm not too worried about the Texans because good luck. That's all I got to say. Good luck.
I agree with you guys, the assessment of the Rams and Vikings, just putting the ball on that. It's just hard to go against guys like McVay and Stafford who are veterans in the game. They've been here. I feel like that was, looking back on it, that was probably my most confident pick because it's just I just didn't see Darnold going in there and beating them, even though, like I said, I think Darnold had a great season. He just, like I said before, he failed the exam. So however you want to distribute the money towards him is your own discretion. But, yeah, the Rams defense is pretty scary. Versus, I think, is already a star. Braden Fisk in the middle is a monster. The Colby Young guys, insane. And their back end is a bunch of guys that we don't know, people was alluding to, but they look like
flying
dudes that are first round guys. They just the Rams, there needs to be a little bit of a study done, depending on how this playoffs goes. They are one just good receiver from being back to elite status in the NFC. If they just get one more guy on the outside, that's all they need. Because Kyron's still young, Puka is no sophomore slump. Maybe a tight end you want to get instead of another receiver, but they're loaded.
Imagine if they had taken Brock,
bro. Man.
He was available. They took Jared Verse instead. And probably a good move. They needed
I
to
still take Verse. I still take Verse.
I'd still take Verse. That's fair. But Matt Stafford with Puka and Brock Bowers, Jesus Christ, man.
And the thing is, too, they traded up to get the Braden Fisk guy, who's like the unsung hero. He's not as, I mean, he's good. He's for his position. He's just as good as Verse for his responsibility. But I mean, I guess what the Rams are kind of showing is draft the defensive line, and everything else will take care of itself. Because, like I said, they already got the quarterback. They found Kyron, and then they got Puka. Whenever I think Puka was like a third, fourth, fifth,
fifth round
yeah.
pick.
So you got lucky, not lucky, but you did your
not lucky. They were high on him. Funny you mentioned Puka. I just saw something on Twitter. It was showing the behind the scene of the draft, and Sean McVay's like, I could use this guy. I could use this guy on my team, and pretty much like talks about his aggressiveness and how he could fit immediately. He saw it. Like, I never heard of the guy, but he saw it. There's a reason people call him as a football genius. He is one of the few football geniuses.
Now, McVay has gone up on my head coaching ranking. Like, I've always had him high, but I think he's like a top 2 coach. Because, like I said, finding Puka and you still having Matt, like, taking a gamble on Matt, they already got a championship. Like, that talk about him when he was like, oh, I might go into broadcast. Like, no, you still need to be in the game.
So good.
Because he could get to some more Super Bowls if he keeps coaching the way he coaches. So, like I said, the Rams dominated, did what they were supposed to do. But with the Chargers in Houston, full disclosure, when I got off the pod, I just started reading about all the playoff matchups, and I got nervous because I was like, do I really like the Chargers? Like, I think I just was doing a lot of like how groupthink everybody in the Twitterverse and Instagramverse were just like, this is easy. It's just the Chargers. That was just the accepted, feeling of that game. And I want to come on here and publicly apologize to D'Amico and CJ because I think we kind of forgot how legendary they were last year as like rookie duos. And I totally forgot about Will Anderson, who's quickly rising as one of the best ends in football. And just the defensive scheme overall. D'Amico knows what he's doing on that side of the ball. And to me, the reason why I kind of want to be really hard on Justin Herbert is, yes, 2 of those passes, the interceptions wasn't his fault. But people, I think you brought it up. If you go back and look, this year he only threw 3 INTs. And he threw 23 pass touchdowns, whatever. A John Harbaugh offense, or a Jim. Jim.
No.
Jim Harbaugh offense is set up for you to run the rock and make big throws and limit turnovers. That is, if you look at any quarterback that's ever been in his system, they don't really be turning the ball over. Even in college, like J.J. McCarthy, people were kind of like hot and cold on J.J. because he wasn't really opening up the playbook and letting him just throw it all over the lot. He was just making key throws. Like if you watch that Ohio State game, if you just watch that Ohio State game that J.J. McCarthy played, you'd be like, how is he a first-round quarterback? Because he just barely threw the ball, made like 2 or 3 big throws. But that's a Harbaugh offense. So to me, if you're throwing 4 interceptions, regardless of 2 wasn't your fault in a Hardball offense, that means you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Like it's just listen. I get it, but it's just I can't. Even though
they couldn't get
the Texans defense. Now
they won that game.
No, the Texas defense won them the game, and like I said, I think Zoo's point. I don't think Houston's offense was like, oh, just explosive. They were just throwing to Nico. Joe Mixon didn't do anything. Like the Titans weren't doing much of nothing. They just was the beneficiary of Herbert turning the ball over. But we do need to quiet that. The big 3 tier. No, Herbert. No, I don't care how talented. No. That he's going to have to turn up next year, like go 35, 40 touchdowns. I don't want to hear his name nowhere near that because people were trying to sneak him in there because I think his first 2 years, he threw like 60 touchdown passes. So everybody's like, but no, sir. I don't want to hear his name nowhere near that tier. I know he's physically talented, but so is Trevor Lawrence. He's physically talented and he's worse than, I mean, of course he's not as good as Herbert, but like, we can't just say because I think people sometimes get enamored with the physical build of quarterbacks. And it's like, well, he just has the physical skill set. And if he shows a little promise, we got to put him in the tier. Like, no. Like, and plus, too, he's
like Anthony
barely
Richardson
above 500. But Anthony Richardson, that's hard. I mean, he's not even.
No, I'm just saying,
he's got a great.
The build, what you expect.
Yeah. The build, People just get enamored with it. I get caught up in that, too. But, I mean, it's just, he's also like 2 or 3 games over 500. Like, Justin Herbert's got a long way to go to be even considered that big 3 quarterback. Like, he's got a while. But I will say Houston did surprise me with just their defense. Going to want to give them respect. The rest of the games, like we kind of knew how those were going to go.
Shout out Commanders. We got to say it.
Yeah, I was about to
Baker
transition
lost
that. Like,
that game with that fumble, though. They should have won that game.
now that when I go back and look at it, yes, the ball was in his hand, but it almost felt like McMillan was going too fast. Like I don't know if it was the timing was off on it, and it's just Baker because how Baker, it just didn't look smooth, and it kind of hit his shoulder.
It was the center's fault.
Oh, he snapped it late.
Oh, he snapped it late. Maybe that's why the time was off.
I think they said it was like
delayed.
They say it was like the rookie center. He like messed up.
They put it on the rookie. I mean, technically McMillan too, but
yeah.
Well, that changed it. That shifted the game. I do think 100%.
That. Yeah, that's the thing. Turnover.
Yeah.
The margins of this game was 3 points. It was like it's going to be a one possession game, and you lose it on a turnover.
Weren't they up 17-13 and they were on like the Commanders' own or their own 20, and then he fumbled it, 20, and then they went up 20-17, and they could have been up 20-13.
Commanders tried to lose that game though. I hate that everybody's overthinking taking 3 points. I hate it because it's like, dude, like he did it. Like when they went for that first or second one or whatever, when they went for on fourth.
Yeah, they could have tied it. They could have tied it.
It's 14 minutes in the fourth quarter. I get it if it's like 7 or 8 where positions are limited, but stop and I get maybe it's more of a cliff thing because side note, like I'm forgetting what's the name of the head coach for the Commanders.
Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn. Like he's got his hat backwards, so I just feel like he's just walking around like just like whatever, happy to be there. Maybe he's not making those decisions, and I kid because he definitely is, but it just feels like this is more of a Cliff's offense where he has like control.
Dan Quinn's a defensive guy,
and it feels like it's just when the points are there. The cool thing on like Twitter and Instagram, hey man, you just don't be a man and go for it on fourth down, dude. There's nothing wrong with taking points.
Yeah.
And with 14 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Now, when there's 8 minutes, 7 minutes, and you may not get the ball back, depending on how they're driving, then I kind of get that. But I just feel like people overthink it. And because Jayden is so excellent,
you got Jayden. That's the thing.
With it.
That's the reason.
That's
the reason because they got a game changer at the QB position. And I don't know if you guys saw the stat during the game, but Jayden Daniels on fourth downs was 20 for 23.
Yep.
That is a ridiculous conversion rate, 20 for 23.
It is.
And dude, they're the highest.
Unbelievable. I'm looking at that number. I'm like, this guy is a stud. And we saw it again. In the clutch, I've seen it all year. In these one possession games, he just calmly goes down and gets it. I'm just like, this dude doesn't play like a rookie. Like
I'm telling you guys laughed at me when I said Bears should freaking take him.
I don't know if I laughed at you, but
now you were like, come on, Caleb, stop it.
No, I wasn't a hater on Jayden because he hit the running ability.
I mean, he did win
throwing ability. Him and Terry McLaurin.
That's what it was obvious to me was his deep. He was known for his deep ball at LSU.
And that's the thing. But he's gotten better at the in middle stuff, which I didn't see coming. I thought he would be like a go ball guy with Terry, but no, he's gotten way better with the in the middle stuff.
No, he's really accurate. Yeah. He doesn't really make poor decisions.
Olamide, Zacchaeus is his second wide receiver too, and that is
wild. Oh, that's wild. Like I don't even know. I know who that is because I watched the game, but it's like that is a damning statement of like that's his second receiver, and like Ertz, who's kind of just. I mean, I don't think he's washed, but he's okay.
Yeah, it's Terry McLaurin. Like guys like Dimey Brown get 89 yards on.
Eckler's huge for them.
Eckler
had that big rush play. Like he's the nice like third down back. Like because Jayden Daniels was the leading rusher too.
Yeah.
So like they didn't really do much on the rushing game.
That last run he did was crazy.
Once again, Bucks are very similar to the Texans. You can't run on them. So it's like you knew, and I said this last week. This game was going to be on Jayden Daniels' shoulder, and he did exactly that. And he's going to have to do it again. I'm sorry, I'm transitioning because this is going to be such a damn good game. But this Commanders Divisional. Woo! We got indoors. This could be a shootout.
That's a big factor. Indoors.
Speaking of shootout, guess the over-under.
This is what I wanted to know. It's got to be like 55.5.
Yep, exactly.
Dang.
That is
what a score
over-under of the week.
Dude, just give me a job. I'm going to MGM, man.
Vegas Insider.
You got that. I'm going to say something lower. But yeah.
Well, the only reason I know that is because the Bucks Commanders game was 50.5.
50. Yeah, it was 50.
So I assumed with the Lions it would be maybe about.
Yeah, especially that Lions team who's I think the best offense in that.
And the other thing, you see the anytime touchdown scorers in that game? There are 5 Lions players ahead of the first Commanders player.
Really?
In odds. Yep. That makes no sense, but I'll talk about bets later, man. But there are some options. But once again, I think this is going to be one. I think Jared Goff is going to actually have to win this game. I know David Montgomery. This is kind of the storyline of the week. He's expected to play. Dan Campbell said he's expecting him to play. I would rest him. I don't know if I was playing. If you were playing the Bucs, I think they for sure would have rested him. Because one, you're probably not going to be relying on the run as much because, like I just said, it's hard to run against that team. And you'd probably have to get into an aerial assault with a Tampa Bay team. And you might have to do that with the Commanders too. But, man, you've seen what Gibbs is doing. So, I honestly, maybe they do scratch him. Maybe they're just messing with Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury, with the David Montgomery. Because if he plays, man, Dave Montgomery is a monster, and it's impossible to stop him in the red zone. So that's kind of a crucial piece for me. On the Commanders side, they need to have Eckler and Brian Robinson do something. Like they need, because Jayden, he's not going to be able to one-man show and beat the best team in the league.
Yeah, the defense has been a little bad at the end of the year.
Like the Lions?
Yeah, the Lions.
And this is the big thing. Their biggest get back was Anzalone. And Anzalone single-handedly won on the defensive side of the ball, won them that game against the Vikings in week 18. He came in, he had like 8 tackles, 2 for loss with a broken arm. So you're talking about he's removing Zach Ertz completely out of the game. And then, Terry McLaurin's probably going to be able to eat. But beyond that, who are they throwing the ball to? You said De'Ami Brown. I said Zacchaeus. At the end of the day, man, it's going to be
Jayden Legs.
I'm going to take talent, and I'm going to go home. They're at home. Mm-hmm. One of the tougher environments to play, and I'm going with the Lions here. But
9.5 though.
The spread, I still would say I could see a 10-point game. That's the only scary thing for me. I wouldn't mind taking a teaser at maybe plus 10.5, plus 12.5, something like that.
9.5 is massive. Especially how
it is massive, but
the Lions do blow people out. That's the thing. They have the ability where their offense is rolling and they're scoring a touchdown every single possession because they don't need it. They don't kick field goals. When they're in the red zone, they get a touchdown.
Here's a good comparison.
Every single possession.
Well, you guys both remember the Bills-Lions game, man. I mean, you're talking about another team in the Bills that, yes, they're a more experienced team, but it's a one-man show. Mm-hmm. He's got James Cook, and I would say that's probably equivalent to their Scary Terry, right? You got one big playmaker other than your rushing quarterback. And the Lions, I know it was a 48-42 game, man, but the Lions should have won that game a lot more than that actually was. And the Bills are better than the Commanders. So I just can't put a rookie quarterback over the most explosive offense in the league this year, outside of the Bengals.
I guess, but you could argue, like, is he a rookie anymore? I mean, he's played like 17 games. I mean, and he just went into Tampa Bay, which is
that was impressive.
That was impressive.
It's a pretty crazy. And I don't know.
I think he's still a rookie because he didn't make a mistake in that game.
Nope.
And he's gonna. There is going to be a moment. Maybe he does. Maybe he wins the Super Bowl. I don't know. But
that would just be absurd.
He's going to make a mistake.
If that happened, like Jayden Daniels is like, Mahomes, I'm sorry, get out of here. Yeah,
it's what Stroud was supposed to do last year, right? Where everyone was like, "Oh my God, he played so well."
That is a good example because it's very similar to how both started out at home. Even though Stroud was at home,
they got a reality check against an unbelievable team. It was the Ravens for CJ Stroud last year, and it's going to be the Lions this year for the Commanders. But hey, they're going to be good for years to come, and they got 12 wins for a reason. 13 now, but I can't pick him. But I'm not betting against him.
That's the thing.
I'm not betting him.
I've told you guys about my rule now. I never bet against the Commanders, and I'm glad I did it last week because I picked the Buccaneers, but I was putting major caveats. And watching the game, I'm like, thank the Lord, because this dude Jayden Daniels, I'm never betting against him. Never. Even though I believe this Lions team is the best offense in football. 9.5-point spread. This is their probably their best season ever as a franchise right now.
Yeah.
Like you got multiple 1,000-yard rushers, multiple 1,000-yard receivers. Like this team has it all on offense, and they should win. They're playing against a rookie without a rushing attack that's elite, I would say, against a Scary Terry weapon where outside of that, as you mentioned, Zach Ertz and a bunch of nobodies. So unless Jayden Daniels pulls a Josh Allen and runs for 80-plus rushing yards, throws for 300. Like, he has to do it all just to keep pace.
Just to keep pace.
The Lions' defense is kind of meh. So, like, I can see Commanders and Jayden Daniels doing some gaudy numbers, but you got to be putting up 30, 35 points to win this game against this Lions team, where this Lions team right now, I don't think this Commanders pass rush just bothered this Detroit Lions offense that much. And Jared got all day to throw to his guys and give it to his RBs, especially Jahmyr Gibbs, who's playing out of this world this season. So, like, and the Sun God, like, he got unbelievable weapons that look at this guy, look at that guy, multiple targets that he doesn't even need to force feed the ball to anybody because he's got so many good weapons. So, obviously, I'm picking the Lions to win the game, but I ain't making no money line or spread picks against the Commanders because I made a rule this year. This team cost me $300 this year, so I'm staying away from the Washington Commanders. They burned me too much after that Bengals game.
I made a little money on Washington.
I still remember that. So, Washington Commanders, I pay you respects. I'm glad you guys are in the playoffs because this is a really fun team to watch.
Fun team, yep.
Really fun play calling. Like, Kingsbury's doing a terrific job on the offensive side doing play calls. So, shout out to Jayden, but good luck against this team because Detroit Lions they're fresh. That's the thing. They're fresh at home, and they had the heartbreak last year. So they're ready to dominate right now. And losing to a rookie, I don't think that's on their agenda right now. So they should take care of business because if Detroit Lions win 0 playoff games this year, I don't even know football anymore. I just don't know. I just don't know.
That's a bigger disappointment.
They won 2 losses this year. What?
That'd be worse than Sam Darnold's performance.
Way
That's
worse.
True.
Way worse.
Because there were expectations. Because Vegas, I still remember, they had Detroit Lions being number one team to win it all.
Yeah.
So the expectations are there. Then they're no longer the cute Cinderella story. They
are the team. Yeah.
They are the team. Like, you got Detroit in the NFC, you got Kansas City in AFC. So you guys are the 2 best in your respective conferences. Now take care of business against this rookie. Even though it's a special rookie, take care of business against a rookie.
Yeah.
Come on, Jared Goff. You lose to this thing. Come on now.
Listen, I'm going with Washington. I'm riding the momentum. Because Jayden is just too, like, to me, it has to be the only way if I had a forecast, it could be like, oh, well, let me see how the game, like the first half, let me see how this first half of the game goes. The only way I could picture Detroit winning the game is if they get on top of Washington early. They have to. Because if they don't, that's going to build Washington's confidence. And then if you're telling me it's the third quarter and it's 27-17 Detroit, people are going to be like, oh, this game's over. No, it's not. Because Jayden has proven he can go down the field, march, make a time-consuming drive. And also, with the running backs, to P. Bush's point, like, Eckler showed some stuff. Brian Robinson, which I'm high on, but that's just more so because of fantasy. They complement each other so well. Eckler, third down back, can get him on screen plays. You can get him on sweep plays, do whatever. Brian Robinson is going to be good for 3 to 4 yards to keep you above the chains. That's what's really helped Washington this year is they always usually stay above the chains. And then Cliff Kingsbury having confidence in Jayden Daniels, he just always knows how to. It's the same thing I was talking about with Penix. And we'll see, I think, more of this next year when he's like the full-time starter. He processes in the pocket really, really fast. And like I said, coming out of college, he threw the deep ball. I mean, of course, you got Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas, but his processing in the middle of the field is elite. And to me, that matters when you're trying to knock off a team like Detroit. Now, if you're saying talent for talent, yes, Detroit has a better team. So to my point, I need to see domination. Like, I don't need to see your first 2 series, you go 3 and out or get a field goal out of your first 2 series. No, I need touchdown. And that's what they do. So they need to do that because I'm telling you, Washington has nothing to play for. And and it's different when it's like, you guys always talk about a cute story and it's a team where we know they're not good, but it's like they have nothing to play for. So they may play up for at least a half, like the Broncos versus the Bills.
Like
it was a cute story because they had nothing to play for. They're ahead of schedule. The difference is this team has nothing to play for. They're ahead of schedule, but the quarterback is really, really good. So it's like if like all that's been clicking this entire year, and if it's the third quarter and it's 24-20, I don't know, man. Because the thing is, the pressure is going to be on the line.
I hope I smash the over if that's a score at the early third quarter, man. Jesus.
It could get weird. It could definitely get weird. So I'm just going to go with Washington because Jayden, to me, has just been proving it. Like the Lions, now I'm not going to be shocked either way, but I just like this momentum of Jayden because, like I said, I laughed hysterically earlier about like, what if you said people if he just goes to the Super Bowl? Like, God, I don't know if he wins this game, then I don't freaking know. Because then you're telling me potentially it could be a Philly Washington game. Then they're going to the Super Bowl because it's their division opponent.
I would actually, if I'm the Commanders, if they beat the Lions, I'd rather play the Eagles than I'd play the Rams.
If you're the Lions?
No, if you're the Commanders.
Oh, Commanders, yeah.
And they beat the Lions.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. Because like I said, there's nothing like your division matchup. Like we saw that with the Steelers and Ravens. But transition, I want to just go quickly with Houston.
Oh yeah.
I think the only way they have a chance is if they make it a Joe Mixon game. They got to make it a Joe Mixon game. He's got to run the ball. Yeah, I know, but that's like their only chance. But I will say, they're another one where the defense did surprise me how they handled Herbert. And
that's what I'm saying.
The reason why, if they make it a Joe Mixon game, which will be the hardest part, but if they make him viable, I don't see Mahomes just throwing all over him. If Mixon is running the ball, because it's just limited possessions. You got to limit possessions.
This is going to be a defensive low-scoring game. I mean, they played each other earlier.
Both defenses are
elite.
elite.
Lost by 9. It was 27-18, and the Texans defense did not look like they played last week, and honestly, the last 2 weeks, I would say. They've been playing lights out. The only thing with the Chiefs for me is that rest was huge. Sometimes we've talked about this. Sometimes rest, you can have a little too much rest, man.
Not with this team. Not with this team.
No. I know. I'm not saying the Chiefs. I'm saying there are individual players that get affected by this. They need Travis Kelce to show up, but the guy that needs to show up and be benefited from this is Isaiah Pacheco. If they don't get Pacheco going, this is going to be interesting. I know they got Hollywood Brown back, and they got Xavier Worthy. They got a bunch of cute wide receivers in the room.
Really quick.
And an old-ass Travis Kelce. So, I mean, this is not a lock. I'm going to take the Chiefs, but
yeah, the spread is Kavitz says it's going to be whatever, but
yeah, but this is going to be a close. This is going to be a grimy. I could see this being a very ugly game.
Yeah, defensive battle and the difference is I equate this to like how we were talking about the Broncos defense with the Bills. And that game was weird in that first half. The Bills had that touchdown and it kind of broke the dam. But the difference is that was Bo Nix. Like CJ Stroud has proven we all get it at the beginning of the season. He kind of looked whatever, but like it almost felt like he was playing possum and came to the playoffs. Like, okay, it's time to play. Like he's a guy who's capable of like, you can't just be like the Bills. Like the Bills would never really threaten because it's like, dude, it's freaking Bo Nix. He's not gonna get them out of this. So you just could tittle around until you can finally the dam breaks because Bo Nix is not gonna do anything. But CJ, if you tittle around, he does have Nico, and he can get the ball to Nico. So that, like I said, the Chiefs can win, but like I said, there's no. I don't think there needs to be any slow starts. I don't think
Zoo's unamused, Sean. Zoo is unamused
because he's got a future on Chiefs.
No, it's not just that, man.
He's got a future on it, man.
That.
I hope.
Do you honestly imagine?
I said I hope the Texans win, man. I just don't.
Do you honestly imagine the Kansas City Chiefs off a bye, only losing one real game all year? I'm not counting the week where they sat everyone. One real game all year and lose to the Texans in the first round, pretty much. To CJ Stroud.
I want to see a CJ Stroud, Jayden Daniels.
I'm sorry. They played Justin Herbert and Will Disley.
What's the odds on that?
Okay. Now you got Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes. It's a different story.
Okay. Travis Kelce, pump the brakes.
Yeah. This is where Travis is going to ball out. In regular season, pretty mediocre. Didn't hit the over-under of 850 yards. Obviously, sat the game, so that was the reason. But you're going from Will Disley to Travis Kelce. You're going from Herbert to Mahomes. You're going from Harbaugh to Andy Reid. This team is locked and loaded, and I'm telling you, man, I see a slaughter. 10 points.
That's not a slaughter.
It's a slaughter.
It's not even a touchdown.
And a low scoring, because I agree with you guys. It's going to be a grinded out game, but I feel like Mahomes turns it on, especially in the rushing game in the playoffs. He just uses his legs a lot more. And Mahomes, low-key, is one of the best rushing quarterbacks in the NFL, especially in the playoffs, where he extends
situationally.
And situationally getting every third down. It's very similar to elite quarterbacks in that situation. When I need a third down, go get that third down because Mahomes is the best at that. And you're talking about this Texans team where, man, they beat a Chargers offense that was so mediocre. And you got Lad McConkey go up, okay, Patrick Mahomes, I need you to take over with your arm, man. And Vlad McConkey go up 197 against this Texans defense, which they have a good pass rush. I give you that. They got a good pass rush. But Mahomes in the pocket can move, man. And give it extending plays, Marquise Brown.
Drop touchdowns, man. He's going to
drop dude, I don't know. This is not Quentin Johnson on the outside. This is not the original. This is not DJ Chark on the outside.
Marquise Brown was the original, man.
Xavier Worthy. This is the guy they've been priming all year. Obviously, in the beginning of the year, he started off kind of like very volatile. But the end of the year, as we noticed with rookie receivers, they consistently get better and better and better. And I believe at the end of the year, Xavier Worthy was getting 10+ targets a game, and it was extremely affected for this Chiefs team. So they're priming him for the playoffs right now to be that alpha receiver right now, because obviously DeAndre Hopkins, he's kind of the older, but he's a receiver too. I'll take DeAndre Hopkins as a receiver too. But the rushing game, that's the thing. Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco, I don't see much there. No. I just don't. Maybe they're going to get a goal line tutty because that's what they do. But I feel like the most important rusher in this game is my freaking quarterback and Patrick Mahomes and extending plays, because I can see him getting 40 to 50 rushing yards, because I think that's what's going to be needed to pretty much spice up this offense and extending plays for this team right now. Because right now, I'm ready, man. Chiefs came to Kansas City Invitational Final Four, baby. After the Final Four, they might lose Final Four. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose to the Ravens or the Buffalo Bills. Well, okay, it happens. You lose to a really, really good team. Obviously, I'm picking.
Changing your tune a little bit there, Zoom.
No. I'm just talking about the game
changing it.
that leads up to the Final Four. No doubt in my heart that this team gets it done. And Patrick,
I think we all agree they win. It's just how they win. I don't think it's a slaughter, how you were saying. I don't
know. 10 points for me in the playoffs, that's a slaughter. That's a slaughter. Especially in a low-scoring type
You got
game.
beat up. I mean, a slaughter has to be 2 touchdowns, I feel like.
2 touchdowns?
Yeah, 2 touchdowns.
Fine, not a slaughter.
At least 2.
A little punch in the face.
A slaughter was the Bills-Broncos game. You could call the Steelers.
That was a massacre. That was a massacre, man.
Yeah.
Fair. Synonyms.
That was a massacre.
I think we just to wrap that up. I agree with Travis Kelce. Probably maybe play possible during the season, and he might turn it up. And I'm thinking about, and the reason why I'm thinking about that is because you go back just to the Ravens game last year, he just went off. So it's like he has that in him. It's just, I just don't want to do that to Houston because of how they showed up against the Chargers. And we can't now, and I'm not seeing anybody on this podcast doing it, but a lot of the rhetoric was they have no playmakers. But no, everybody before that game was picking the Chargers to beat them handily. So it's I got to give a little respect to the Houston defense. Yeah. That's it. Do I think the Chiefs are going to win? Yes.
The defense is good.
The defense is really good.
And that's what I'm saying.
Stingley with Anderson, just take care of business. Just take care of business, man. Just take care of business. Because I don't. If I'm a Chiefs fan, I don't want it to be the fourth quarter and we're up 3, and now we got to depend on a Mahomes scramble or a phantom, pass interference that gets them extended to get a field goal. I don't want that to be. I want us to handle them. So and
2 possessions.
Like I said,
I want to win by 2 possessions against this Texans team, because I don't think they're that elite, scary team where we got a couple other teams that I'm a lot more worried about. But
Zoo just mentioned with. Yeah, he wouldn't be shocked if the Ravens, which is funny that he said that, the Ravens or Bills beating the Chiefs next year, kind of, I guess, speaks to how good both of those teams are. But I will say the difference in this game that I'm looking at is it's really going to come, because I was just looking at the matchup, it's really going to come down to who doesn't turn the ball over. I really do believe that, because I do think I'm not excited about both defenses. They don't excite me. I don't think either defense is oh, man, I'm excited. The Ravens played the Steelers.
Yeah,
respect to Russell Wilson. He might actually get re-signed there. Who knows? But George Pickens, and that's it. Najee Harris, they know them. The defense played well, but it's guy. And then with the Bills, you was going against a rookie quarterback. So the defense to me are a wash. Yeah. I think Lamar and Josh are going to be able to play their games. I don't think it's the defense are going to bother them as much. And then you come to the running backs. James Cook, I think, is a great option, and I think Derrick Henry is a great option. I think turnovers, field position, I don't know what the over-under is for the game, but I know this is even
51.5. 51.5.
I don't know. Cold weather, I think this is a running back game, and who doesn't turn the ball over.
And if it's a running back game, the Bills are screwed. Look at the score. They look at the first time they faced off this.
No, I remember.
What was the score?
No, they got
35-10. 35-10 Ravens.
That was a slaughter.
Derrick Henry destroyed them. James Cook did absolutely nothing. You can't. Once again, I'm going to say it again. You can't run on certain
back.
teams.
I agree.
James Cook will not be cooking. I'm just going to tell you that right now. This is going to be a Josh Allen, 100% Josh Allen game. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Dawson Knox touchdown in there. I think he's going to have to throw the ball.
Yeah,
Dawson Knox scoring a touchdown over Kincaid is insane.
Dawson Knox has outsnapped Dalton Kincaid in the last 5 games.
Yeah,
doubled his snap.
I don't even see Kincaid on the field. I don't even see him on the field.
What's going on with him?
I don't know what it is either. But my man, I'm just gonna say this. You made a great point, Sean. The defenses wash. Quarterbacks wash. Give me Derrick Henry over James Cook.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Ravens. I'm taking a money line. I know it's 1.5. Might as well just take them.
Yeah. You're not making any money there.
Not take the spread. Take the money line. But Zoo, I wouldn't be surprised. This is a slaughter of the Ravens, man.
Wow,
crazy.
Wow.
I just don't think it's the Bills. They need someone more viable.
Josh Allen has to be superhero.
Josh Allen needs to be.
They didn't look good against Denver. They didn't look good against Denver.
He's going to have to do better than Jayden does.
Josh Allen made some ridiculous play like that.
Yeah, that's the reason.
That Ty Johnson, that was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
That was just. I was like, oh my god. That is
yeah.
But here's the thing. The other point to bring up. The only thing that I will say about the Ravens defense, and not saying they're as similar to the Rams because the Rams scoring defense has been unbelievable. Zoo rattled off some of their numbers earlier in the pod. But when they move Kyle Hamilton back to the safety position, man, that entire secondary changed. And I'm not. And here's the thing: if they're good against the rush, who are you scared of on that Bills team besides Josh Allen? I mean,
Marvin Cooper would have to turn back the clock.
Yeah, he will, and he hasn't.
Keon Coleman, he's just.
Khalil Shakir might be your best option.
He is pretty good. I actually like him. He is pretty good after the
Shakir.
Yeah, Shakir.
Yeah, he's solid. He's solid, but he's
a receiver too. He's a receiver too.
He's a really good receiver too.
Yeah, I just don't.
He's a great value Zay Flowers. That's what he is. He's a great value Zay Flowers.
Well, Zay Flowers is out. He's probably not going to play.
Yeah, I know he's out, but I'm just saying he's.
Yeah.
Officially?
The last thing I saw, they said he's probably not going to play on Saturday.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, okay, subject to change, but man, just give me the Ravens, man. They're going to ride on Derrick Henry. Pause. But it's just going to be there. Yeah. And to Sean's point, the cold weather, man. I mean, this is a road game for the Ravens, man. But they're also used to playing in the cold. I mean, they're
in the same environment.
Buffalo cold's a little different.
It is, but
that's Toronto. That's Canada cold. That ain't America.
That is Canada cold. Yeah,
that ain't the same. That ain't the same cold, bro.
The thing is, man, as you mentioned, Derrick Henry's the key. Because if you got a guy averaging 7 yards a carry with 186 yards on a good defense, this is a good defense in the Steelers.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry is just an outlier, a physical outlier. And you got a guy like Lamar and Derrick Henry, you don't know which guy's going to run. You go from the Gus Bus to the King. This is not even close, man. Because I didn't mention Derrick Henry got some jets in him still at this old age.
I don't know how.
It's that diet.
Dude, I don't know what it is. Because a guy that big and that strong running that fast, it's like freaking Godzilla out there running around like a speedster. It is incredible to see this guy play football. And I know James Cook, he got all these rushing touchdowns, but I think a lot of that is he did make some plays. He gets that second hit. He gets in the touchdown last week. But a lot of the offensive line for the Bills is awesome. Mm-hmm. That's the thing.
They're nasty.
You got the all-time quarterback in Allen, and you got an offensive line that gives them the time to be special. So they need to dominate the trenches and allow Josh to go RB1 Superman mode because I need 300-plus yards passing.
You need the Jayden.
I need 90 yards rushing.
Yeah,
I need multiple rushing touchdowns and passing touchdowns. I need it all from this man because this Ravens team is going to put up points unless Lamar starts to regress. Because Lamar in the playoff game, he was awesome against the Steelers. He just looked like normal season, regular season Lamar Jackson. Played his game, played what the defense gave.
Finally.
Finally. The thing is, he had 84 QBR, 132 pass rating. So the thing is, the Steelers didn't really push him. He wasn't playing down. Playing down for Lamar, that's when you have to be more aggressive throwing the football. You can't run the ball as much. So if they go up, Lamar could do his thing and they could dominate, especially with the King dominating time of possession. But Josh Allen, I need you to hit them fast and hard immediately. I need to go up 7-0, 10-0, 14-0.
Yeah, he's got to take the ball first, make a
I
mistake.
want Lamar to chuck it more, especially if Zay Flowers out, like Rashad Bateman, receiver one. Okay, good luck. Like Mark Andrews, try to make those guys beat you.
That equals the playing field.
Yeah, try to make those, because if the Ravens go up and you got King Henry and Lamar running the football, I'm nervous. I am extremely nervous, because that is when they run that play where it's boom, boom, I don't know who's running the football. I don't know what is going.
Like RPO, all that. Yeah,
RPO, unstoppable. Unstoppable. The play is
blowing some wrinkles. I will give their Todd Monken and offensive coordinator. They were doing some kind of, and I know they were probably playing around because the Steelers, but like they were doing a lot of like Derrick Henry, Lamar motion. Like that was unique. And to your point, what are you gonna do?
I don't know.
When you got Lamar running in motion and Derrick Henry going up the field, like that is deadly. That's why I just think. I don't want to, and I agree, Derrick Henry is the more superior back than James Cook. That's why, but I was like, whoever out of those two have the big game, and if you want to bet money on it, it's probably going to be Derrick Henry. But it's like, that is going to be the game. Because, like I said, everything else, I just feel like, and then turnover out. So, like, if the Ravens are acting weird and turn the ball over, then that gives the Bills, if the Bills can get short fields, and you can just use James Cook on a couple of runs and then get Josh Allen on 3rd and 4 to just run for a first down, like, that'll be the reason why they have a chance. But, yeah, Derrick Henry is he is just a different dude, and he looks like a young running back. So it's just kind of like that type of like tough style of running is just built for that weather. Is even, like I said, I have a Lamar agenda because I think Lamar needs this. And I do kind of want to see the Kansas City Chiefs and Ravens just because of how good the game was earlier. Yeah, like the rematch. But it is it would not shock whoever wins this game could really be on the path to win the Super Bowl because I think the quarterbacks are that special. So, and I know Mahomes is on the other side, so it is disrespectful as hell. But it's just like these two kids. I almost wish this was like the matchup for the like the conference championship. I really do wish that this was what it was because, like I said, salute to Mahomes. They got the #1 seed, but these two quarterbacks are the quarterbacks you want to see. Like, okay, who's going to get the Super Bowl? Who's going to do whatever?
The next guy.
I don't want to see. I mean, to people's point, it's like, okay, we've seen enough of the Chiefs. I get it. Unless you got a future on them, like so it's like we did with shakeup. But for 4 years, I will say, speaking of shakeups, it's like if we go to the last game, like the Vikings or not Vikings, but the Rams and Eagles, it's like we could potentially have Jayden back. He's still kind of new, even though he went to Super Bowl. On the other side, you got Matt Stafford, who's already won a Super Bowl. But potentially, like I said, if my Commander's pick comes true, then you almost are guaranteed of a guy who's going to his second Super Bowl or a guy who can go to his first Super Bowl. So a lot of things could shift. That game's pretty simple. The D-line of the Rams versus the O-line of the Eagles, that's going to decide the game. If 100%. The Eagles, who is top 2 line in the league, if they hold up, it'll be a long day for the Rams. And if the Rams can get in the backfield, it's going to be a long day for the Eagles. Because I'm going to tell you this, too. If the Rams somehow control Saquon,
it's over.
I know they got AJ and they got Devontae, but those Rams corners I don't think are slobs. Like, because they held Addison and Jefferson in check. Go ahead.
It's Goddard. Goddard is the key.
Goddard's the monster,
the key. Because the other thing, Sean, and this is the point. This is the only game right now, and it is early in the week. It's a Tuesday, right? They're playing it. Are they the Sunday game? Are they a Sunday game?
Sunday game.
It is supposed to be bad weather in Philly. It's the only one I think that as of right now has predictions of bad weather. And you're talking about Saquon or Kyron Williams. Give me Saquon with that offensive line. And especially with the tush push of the brotherly shove, as they now call it, with Jalen Hurts, huge. But if that weather stays off and you see Matt Stafford being able to throw the ball, I know the Eagles secondary is fantastic, but Sean McVay and Matt Stafford are going to be 100% ready. I got my bet. Plus 7.5 Rams.
Plus 7.5 Rams.
I'm not mad at it, especially if it's bad weather. I'm not mad at that.
Yep.
Man. For me personally, this game is really, really interesting because I see the juice on the Rams. And thanks to the Chargers, they cost me some money. But I got a little free bet back, so I put that free bet on the freaking Rams money line to get it done in the upset over the Eagles. Just something about this Eagles team. I know I'm talking about like the drama like on the field with AJ Brown. That's just like those are just small little things. But something like Jalen Hurts, I don't know. He just doesn't look like the guy.
A different team.
Like I remember that Jalen Hurts I thought saw in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago where I was like,
Yeah.
this guy is dominating every aspect of the game. And he was looking like that top 5 quarterback where he was rushing it, throwing the deep ball, making good decisions. Like, I haven't seen that guy in a while. He regressed a little. He's still a solid quarterback, but I haven't seen that level of QB. Like I saw he made amazing improvements from the year before. So he kind of regressed a little. I don't know if it's the injury. He got concussed. So, like, he's coming back from injury. So he may not be, like, completely 100% right now, like, physically. And mentally, maybe he's still recovering from that. And he playing against the Rams team, as I mentioned. Like, this is a season playoff team right now. They're not going to make mistakes. They're going to play smart football. And, oh, man, Matthew Stafford, come on now, dude. Against this Eagles team, you're going to be in for a challenge. Like, this defense, man, I am so intrigued because this Eagles defense made Jordan Love look like absolute garbo, man. Like, just absolute. Jordan Love was throwing an interception every single time, that deep ball at the end. I was watching just throwing Hail Marys for potential to win get all your points back in one throw pretty much. Like Josh Jacobs was dominating ground, but their aerial game was completely non-existent. Obviously the Eagles benefit with no Christian Watson. I think Jayden Reed left the game. So they were
Romeo Doubs.
So to concussion. So they lost all their receivers. So obviously that makes the defense a lot easier to take care of business. And right now, Puka healthy, Cooper Kupp healthy. The tight end though, like Higbee, I don't know about his situation because he actually played pretty well.
And he got hurt.
Yeah, exactly. He left the game. I remember he left the game and he was.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know if he's gonna make it for this game, but that'll be a huge thing if he comes back for this season because they're gonna need everyone possible to attack this Eagles defense right now because you can't be just like I know you lost Puka. You can't be shoving it to him every single time. Like other guys need to step up. So. For me, this is an interesting matchup. Obviously, Eagles should be favored, but got a little juice on the Rams, and I feel like
that's my bet.
If it goes down the fourth quarter, like one possession game, let's go Stafford on a 2-minute drill. Let's ride.
And you know what? I'm saying it. I'll just repeat this again. I'd love to see Stafford have to go to Detroit.
Oh, that'll be a beautiful story.
Yeah, that's a story.
That would be a beautiful story.
And you know the NFL loves a good story.
Stories on stories, man. That would be incredible. Oh my God.
Yeah, Stafford. I like the Eagles, but McVay and Stafford. That is a top duo in the NFL, and the Eagles defense is tough. It's just that Rams defense can make it a little nasty. They could. Mm-hmm. That line is unbelievable. Like I know it's the Vikings and whatever, but man, oof. And they, like I said, the Rams are kind of playing with a lot of it's not really to lose because, like I said, they got into the playoffs, but it's just more, they were injured early in the year. They didn't
very injured
well at all.
Like they lost the entire defense.
Yeah, and then they just came back, and I don't know. That one's interesting, and the weather point kind of makes me like your +7. Like for me, just because of the heater that Jayden's on, I just like the Commanders +9.5 or whatever, 10, whatever. I kind of like that just because it's the playoffs. Like I don't, I know there were blowouts in the wild card round, but maybe it doesn't happen in the divisional. And I think maybe just if they do what I say they should do, which is run it with Brian Robinson and feed Austin Eckler, maybe they shorten the game.
Dan Quinn,
like, hey, come on.
Kingsbury.
And it just and on the fourth downs that they like to go for in opponent's territory, is just maybe if he makes a couple of throws, which that stat, what is it, 23 or 25 on fourth, like. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but
they're higher than they have the highest team. I know I think you pointed out the specific Jayden Daniels one, Zoo, but they're the highest fourth down percentage conversion team in the league this year. Ahead of
I just like points
in the Lions.
I just like points. I know people don't like 3 points, but come on, man, just take. And in this game, if you're playing
on the
tough,
team, though, Sean, it depends on the team.
In the playoffs, who do you want in the playoffs? Like, we're just saying the playoffs. Who do you not want going for it on fourth down? Like, which quarterback are you not comfortable going for it on fourth down? All of them, I feel like you are.
Goff. Honestly, I don't like when he goes for it because they have such good system that they'll get a play. But if you blow up the play, he just panics. And like I've said this for weeks.
He's not an athlete, so yeah.
He's the athlete. His job is easy. Get it to his special skilled position players.
He's got a lot of skills. That's why.
Those guys would be
my pick, but
I'd probably say CJ Stroud too. Maybe the Texans. I wouldn't go for it too much. I mean, they only have one guy.
Yeah. They struggle enough to get him. They struggle enough to get in the red zone. So
exactly.
They got a great kicker too.
But yeah, this divisional round is
gonna be good.
It's gonna be set up for a lot of good matchups. Like I said, the wild card's disappointed, but I think the divisional is gonna make up for it. I think divisional, and then like I said, we're gonna get conference and Super Bowl. Football season is just flying by, man. So
wow.
you guys make sure you are tuned into our podcast. This one went a little long because obviously, we like the NFL and we like the playoffs. So for you guys who do like to watch the podcast for NBA, we will be coming with that very soon. Like I said, we got to get through these playoffs and get through the Super Bowl. We'll probably talk about a little bit of the NBA during that little break that the Super Bowl or between the end of the conference championship game and the Super Bowl. So make sure you guys are locked into Tyson Talks on Instagram, Tyson Talks on TikTok. Not sure if that app is still going to be here, but I mean, if it's not, just transfer over Tyson Talks to Instagram. Go to our Facebook page, Tyson Talks, Pick and Dime Podcast, YouTube, Quantrill Knows. We're putting up content every day. And for me, Zoo, and P. Bush, we are out.